Friend, today is the day we are starting 2025's garden, which is pretty crazy. But before we head out into the garden, I'm actually gonna get a cake in the oven. We have a busy weekend this coming weekend, and I'm responsible for making the dessert for a family dinner. We do a family dinner at my mother-in-law's house. We try to do it about once a month. Sometimes it doesn't happen. And she asked me if I would be willing to bring the dessert. And so I thought, sure, why don't I get that done today while I've actually been doing some other cooking, because I know I'm not gonna have time this coming weekend to get it done. So I'm gonna make a pumpkin bundt cake from 2023's pumpkin that I pureed and had in the freezer and just pulled out. I have not processed yet 2024's pumpkin, but that's a project for another day. I figured I've got this pumpkin that needs to be used up. This is actually the last of the pumpkin, so maybe next week we'll process last year's pumpkin. And we've got some seeds in the mail, so these are the seeds that I've been waiting for so that we can start 2025's garden. I think everything that I want to start today is in this box. I already got dinner done. I actually need to pop that in the refrigerator, and then come dinner time, all I need to do is pop, these are stuffed cabbage rolls, pop this in the oven. I just weighed out 15 ounces of pumpkin. Normally you would just open a can of pumpkin, but because my pumpkin was frozen in the freezer, I needed to go ahead and weigh that out. And now we can get our eggs in here. I have my oven preheated to 350 degrees. My seeds took forever to come in the mail because Josh and I had some miscommunication. I thought that they were ordered. He was helping me with it. They didn't get ordered. And then they got ordered, and then we had a snowstorm here. So they were sent to the post office, and then Josh went to the post office to pick them up, and it was a holiday. It was President's Day, I think. And then he had to schedule for them to be delivered here. And look what I got. We're gonna use this for the first time together. I bought this because you all told me this is what I needed in my life, a hand mixer. And probably 100 of you said I need to get the cordless hand mixer. So I ordered this the other day. I charged it, and we're gonna use it for the first time today. It works, and it's quiet, which is nice. I think this is gonna be really nice. So in here, I have my eggs and my pumpkin. I think I'm gonna go ahead and get my sugar in here next. This is a really easy cake recipe. I like making bundt cakes because they're just so easy. I'm gonna add my white sugar, brown sugar, I'm gonna get this mixed together with the new hand mixer. Oh, this is nice. It's quiet, and I didn't have to get the stand mixer out. I'm really excited about this. I can link this down below for you, but I did buy it because you all said that's the one that I needed. I just added a good glug of vanilla. I'm gonna add 1 cup of oil. This is avocado oil. You use whatever kind of oil you want to use. Love it. Now we're gonna add our dry ingredients. I should have measured out that before I measured out the oil. And I'm just gonna use all-purpose flour for this. We need 2, I'll link this recipe down below for you as well, 2 3/4 of a cup. So bundt cakes freeze beautifully. So I'm making this, it's Thursday. We're having family dinner on Sunday. So Sunday morning, I will take this out of the freezer. I'll wrap it after it completely cools in plastic wrap really well, and then I'll throw it in the freezer. And then Sunday morning, I just spilled salt all over my floor. Sunday morning, I'll take it out of the freezer and let it thaw. And then probably when I get to my mother-in-law's house, I'll make a cream cheese frosting to put on the top. Now I'm gonna add the baking soda. And my baking soda is kind of clumpy. So I'm gonna put this in my hand. Break it up just a little bit. Get that in there. and all of our spices. If I had pumpkin pie spice, I would use that. I do not have that right now, so I'm gonna get all the spices out and add them to this mixture. That was cinnamon. Now I'm gonna add nutmeg. I love nutmeg, especially freshly ground. Clove. I'm just gonna put a teeny tiny bit of clove in there because that can be very strong. And ginger. You all were right. This is amazing. The only thing is, will I remember to keep it charged? That's the question. And how long does it keep its charge? I don't know yet. I asked Josh if he wanted any chocolate chips in this, and he said no. So we're just gonna leave it just like this. I prefer it without chocolate chips, so I'm kind of glad he said no. I'm gonna give this one little mix here. And we need to spray our bundt pan. I love a bundt cake. And I'm gonna use this spray that has a little bit of flour in it. I have heard you can make that yourself, but I have not attempted that yet. And now I'm gonna get my bundt pan filled with this beautiful pumpkin batter. Hopefully this is the right size bundt pan for this cake. I know that this is my mother-in-law's husband's, one of his favorites. So that's kind of why I thought I would make it, because I've got pumpkin that needs to be used up, and I know he really likes it, and I really like it. And it's still technically winter, so pumpkin is a good flavor this time of year. Oh, I did want to mention, I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been having mic issues for about 2 weeks. Josh and I have replaced every part of the current system, or the current system we used to have, and we kept thinking it was fixed, and then it would break on us. And so it's been very, very frustrating the last 2 weeks. So we finally bit the bullet and bought a whole new mic system and a new camera, because we couldn't figure out if it was the mic, if it was the camera, if it was the cord, what was going on. And it's been driving us crazy. So hopefully we have it fixed. And I want to apologize for the bad mic that we've been dealing with for the past 2 weeks. So I know it's kind of annoying, so I apologize for that. And hopefully we are now in tip-top working order. So this is gonna go in there for at least 55 minutes. So what I'm gonna do while this is baking is actually put this in the refrigerator first, but we are gonna head out into the garden and start some seeds. I better set a timer and bring my phone out so that we don't forget about our bundt cake. But I figured this was a good time to get the cake going so that, one, I can do it before I make a mess of myself in the dirt. That's one reason why I wanted to get dinner going, is I knew I would get messy and I wouldn't really want to cook dinner after enjoying time out in the grow room. So I'm gonna set a timer for, how about we do for 50 minutes and we'll check it. Yeah, this is now cooled, so that can go in the fridge. And you know what I probably should do before I go have fun out in the grow room with you all? Is I should take care of my responsibilities and put all of these ingredients away. Normally when a recipe calls for all of these spices, I just substitute pumpkin pie spice. I thought I was out of it. I have pumpkin pie spice. I normally just substitute that, so I don't have to get all those spices out, but that's fine. Let's see. Okay, now how do we take these beaters off? Easy as that. Where's the lid to this? There it is. I don't think I'm gonna charge this right now. I charged it fully once. Let's see, does it have a light on this? Oh yeah. There's 4 little dots right here. So this is fully charged at this point. So I'm not gonna charge this. Now you all let me know who have that same mixer, because I know many of you do, because many of you recommended it. How long does that charge and how often do you charge it? So I can have an idea of how long I can go without charging this. We have about 30 minutes left on our cake. I decided probably was smart to have some lunch before we get started on planting. Now I have ordered 1, 2, 3, 4. I ordered from 4 seed companies this year. I order from different seed companies for a variety of reasons. I typically start with M.I. Gardner because his seeds are the most affordable. And then I kind of go to some other companies from there. One of my seed orders is not here yet, and that's actually my M.I. Gardner seed order, but I think that's okay because I don't think any seeds that I ordered from him are ones that I'm gonna be planting. I have not organized any of these seeds. I can link where I buy seeds down below. I think what I should do first is actually organize all my seeds because they all need to be organized. They always come just kind of random, and then I need to go through and organize them and get them put away. Let's see. Okay, so Patterson onions, we're gonna start today. Johnny Seeds, I love the company. The one thing I don't like about their seed packets is they don't have pictures on them. And I am someone who really appreciates snapdragons. We're starting those today. A picture. Bean. Bean? Snapdragon we're starting. Snapdragon we're starting. Peppers we're not starting. Pumpkin. Oh gosh. I ordered a lot of snapdragons. So this is my pile of things that I'm starting today. Oh shoot. I didn't mean to order that. I think I mostly have everything organized. A lot of the stuff that I ordered are things that I already know and love to grow. There are a couple new things this year that I'm going to be trying. But a lot of what I'm going to be growing this year are the same varieties that I've grown in the past that are tried and true favorites, like Bolero carrots are one of my favorites. I really liked this yellow monster pepper. I got some free basil, which is awesome. But some of the new ones I'm going to be trying are this. I just thought this was really pretty. I like growing drying beans, so we're going to try these. This is my bean and pea section. And then I'm going to try a new green bean this year. I love jade green beans. Those are my favorite, but I'm going to try this variety this year. So we'll see how that goes. And then when it comes to nasturtiums, these are 3 new colors that I have never grown in the past. We've got a purple one, which is pretty unique. I've never seen a purple nasturtium before. Cherry Rose Jewel is just a pretty pink one. And then I thought this golden or jewel golden would be kind of fun. So those are kind of new to me. I got a couple of free seeds. These are new to me. I want to try some melons. Melons are a family favorite around here. And so I'm going to try some new varieties this year. Never grown them, don't know anything about them. And then I've got some tomatoes, which are my favorite, some Romas. And basically, oh, lots of zinnias, some new ones. Pink is quickly becoming one of my new favorite colors. And this is a new, I've actually never grown any of the Oklahoma varieties of zinnias. And so these are some, I didn't mean to get 2 of the same color, but this is Bennery's Giant. I've actually never grown any of the Bennery's Giant zinnias before, but I thought that was a really pretty color with this and with that. And then some Flower Hill Farm zinnias, plus all the zinnias I saved. And then this is the pile of what we're gonna start today. So lots of snapdragons, our onions, and this is new to me this year. So my goal this year, when it comes to my garden, let me actually put some of these away when I'm talking to you kind of about what my 2024 goals are. My number 1 goal in my garden is to have fun in the garden with you all and have fun in the garden with my family and enjoy the garden. That's my number 1 goal. I love my garden for so many reasons, but the joy that it brings me is probably my favorite. And I love spending time outside. It's a good excuse to spend time outside, and my garden pushes me out there. My second goal is to grow a lot of the staple things that I know we love to eat. There are quite a few experiments we're going to be doing this year, but I'm not going to be doing a ton of experiments. The only thing I do not have here that I know I still need to order, this is going back to experiments, is I do want to grow peanuts this year. I grew them last year. I planted them out too early. They froze and died. And then I did not have time to replant them. So peanuts is an experiment I want to do. There's a few experiments I want to do. These goji berries are definitely an experiment, and I think this is a huckleberry. I don't know. These are some fruits that we're going to experiment with. So number one goal, have fun with my family and enjoy the time in the garden with you all and with my family. 2, I do want to grow or attempt to grow a year's worth of some crops, but not all crops. I used to want to grow a year's worth of every single crop, but I have learned that some crops we don't really like preserved. We only really enjoy them fresh, and so I'm not going to go through the effort of trying to grow them to preserve them to then force myself to have to try to eat them all winter and fall long, so it's not a waste. So a couple things that I'm going to try to grow a year's worth of, because I know I like them preserved, are onions, tomatoes, garlic, pumpkin. I think that's it. I think that's it. And another goal is to have a beautiful garden. Hence why you saw quite a few flowers. Plus I have tons of flower seeds from previous years that we are going to be growing. But for example, so another goal is going to be to enjoy as much fresh produce when it's coming out of the garden. Zucchini, I love enjoying it out of the garden. I guess I do like freeze-dried zucchini. I use that quite a bit, but I'm not going to grow zucchini to freeze or anything like that. I guess I will freeze dry it, so that wasn't the best example. So that's kind of my goals. I guess it's not official. We'll see what ends up happening. I'm not a huge planner. I do plan to grow a lot of pumpkins. I found some new really fun ones. I was looking for different textures when it comes to pumpkins, different colors, like look at this one. It's green and yellow. Oh, I do that sometimes where I don't mean to do it. I end up putting 2 seed packets in my cart, but that's okay. Let's see. I do want to grow quite a bit of stuff for my chickens, actually. That is a goal I have of mine. So let me take a second and actually get all of these put away. I am using photo organizers to organize my seeds. I have had these since I started gardening. You can get them at your local craft store. I can link them down below on Amazon. But what they are is photo organizers. And I originally have seen other gardeners do this, and that is where I got the idea, and it works really well. One of the main reasons why I like organizing them in these photo organizers is for actually when I take seeds out into the garden and they are in a plastic container, and so if I on accident spray them with water, because I have done that many times, the actual seeds themselves, as long as they're in the photo organizer, they don't get wet, which is really nice. And I do try to organize these with like things. I used to have one of these containers, because I have 3 of them, was like my cold crops. I had a hot weather crop bin and a direct sow bin and a flower bin. They kind of are all mixed up in each bin, but in each photo organizer they are organized by type mostly. I am putting some seeds that I don't have a label and a specific container for, that I know I want to start this year, up on that shelf, and that way that I just know those are things I want to start. And one thing I'm trying to do as well is when I put my new seeds in a container that already has lots of seeds, then I'm putting the new seeds on top, because those are varieties that I really want to start, because those are new seed packets I bought this year. I have tried tons of different varieties of tons of different things over the years, and so a lot of these seeds packs in my containers that I've had are ones that they're varieties that I'm probably not going to grow again, but I just have them in here. And I'm going to get these organized, and I'm going to feel a lot better about starting seeds once I have this a little bit more organized. I would say these are about 90% organized. There's some straggly seeds that are in there that I'm not really going to worry about right now. What I'm going to focus my attention on is now organizing this space a little bit, making sure I got all of my seeds out of here before I throw this away. Yep. Clean up my space, and then we're going to start seeds. I am a little nervous about this. It's been a while since I've done this. This is my 5th garden season, I think. So I really have no reason to be nervous, except for the fact that it's been a while since I've done this. We'll set that there for now. Here's what I have set aside that we're going to start today. So I think what I should probably do is actually organize these by type so that we can figure out what we're going to do. And I told myself I was not going to order that many varieties of snapdragons, but I think I have like 10 different snapdragons. They are one of my favorite flowers. And I also told myself I am not going to grow any petunias. But then I guess I ordered this seed pack. I probably at that point when I opened my cart was going to start my own petunias, but I have a really good local greenhouse to me that he just grows the most beautiful petunias, and he has the most amazing color selection that I really should not be wasting my time my space under my grow lights growing petunias that I find are very difficult to grow when I could use that space for things that I think are easier, like tomatoes and peppers and snapdragons. Okay. Just read how I'm supposed to start those goji berries, and that sounds, you're supposed to soak the seeds in water for 24 hours before planting and add sand to potting mix. They like an alkaline soil and they don't tolerate being wet. I didn't read that, so maybe we won't be starting those today. I just Googled what my Johnny seed packets look like because I couldn't remember what the colors were, and I'm going to show them to you. This is the lineup. So I want to plant hundreds of snapdragons, and it is cheaper and more cost effective for me, and I get to choose a bunch of different beautiful colors if I start them myself. Let me show you the lineup, and I'll put pictures up here so you can see what they look like. I grew the Potomac berry snapdragons last year, and they had a beautiful sturdy stem. And I got this berry blend because I didn't want to buy individual seed packets of all the colors. This is a really pretty blend of like pinks and maroons and things like that. But I also wanted orange in there. Orange is one of my favorite colors when it comes to flowers. So I am going to make my own blend by mixing the berry and the Potomac orange. And I think that's going to be super, super beautiful. One of my all-time favorite snapdragons has been this Orange Wonder. But I don't know if I'm going to plant that this year because I've got these, and I also have this Costa mix. I want a bunch of different varieties of colors, and so I figured the best way for me to get so many different varieties of colors would be to buy the mix packets. And I wanted to add to that this apricot snapdragon, so I'm going to make my own blend again, and I'm also going to add the Costa Snapdragon Silver. These two were from Flower Hill Farm, and this one was from Johnny, but they're the same type of snapdragons. So I have never grown I don't know how you say that, Costa variety of snapdragon. So this is one type of snapdragon in a bunch of different colors, and then the Potomac is one type of snapdragon in a bunch of different colors. And then over here, I have this orange pelleted. I don't know why I got one. Oh, that's my timer. We need to go check in on the cake. But I bought one packet of pelleted orange. These just looked so incredibly vibrant and orange. and I love orange and pink flowers. Orange is not my favorite color when it comes to just everyday things around, but when it comes to flowers, I have fallen in love with orange and with pink. And that's why in the past, the Orange Wonders have been some of my favorite varieties of snapdragons. And look at that, these are just different seed packets from different years. And look how different they look. But if you've been in my gardens in the past 2 years, you have seen these snapdragons in my garden. Another tried and true is Silver Dollar Eucalyptus. Last year I grew 3 different varieties. I'm only gonna grow this one this year. And then I bought this Lisianthus. I don't know if I'm gonna start this or not, but I do know I'm gonna start these 2 yellow onion varieties. This yellow onion variety, I still have probably about 20 of them in my pantry from last year's garden. So this is a very long storage onion variety. And this is another one. These don't get very big. The biggest they get is about this big. So I thought I would try another variety this year and see if I like this yellow onion variety. And I want to come back over here and show you what this looks like. Lisianthus is Nicole from Flower Hill Farm's favorite flower. So I bought this because she was selling it, but they're so hard to start. I don't know, we'll see if I end up starting those. When I walked out of the seed room, I could smell, oh yeah, that cake is done. It's only in there for 55 minutes. I'm glad I set my timer for a shorter amount of time because that looks done. We are about to start some seeds and it feels absolutely crazy. What I'm gonna do is let that cake cool for probably about 10 minutes. I probably should set a timer so I don't forget. Then I'm gonna turn it out and then I'm gonna let it cool completely. Then I'll wrap it up, throw it in the freezer. Sunday, I'll pull it out of the freezer and my responsibility for making a cake for family dinner is taken care of. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with the onions because those are gonna be easy. It's gonna feel good to have an easy win under my belt because like I said, I'm a little nervous about this. I don't know why. I don't think I've ever felt nervous to start seeds before, but today is the day I feel a little nervous. So in each one of these seed packs for the onions, yeah, I'm pretty sure I bought onion seeds from MI Gardener too, but those aren't here yet. So when those come, I'll just start them when they come. There are 250 seeds in each one of those packs. So what I'm gonna do is start them in these very large seed trays. I have grown onions a couple different ways. I have grown them from seed, I have grown them from set, and I have grown them from seed that I have started, and I've grown them from sets that I have purchased. I have always had the best luck when I start them myself. And they're so easy to start. They probably are one of the easiest, I think, things to start because all we have to do is get a container that's relatively big. These containers are from Epic Gardening. I can link them down below. I love these. They come in 3 different sizes. This is the largest one. This is the smallest size. They have big openings on the bottom, so they're and on the side, so they kind of do self-pruning like soil blocks. And then this is the medium size. The cool thing about these is they are dishwasher safe. So you can throw these in the dishwasher, which is incredible. I am not going to start them in these teeny tiny things because onions have big long roots and they like to have space for their roots to grow. So I have found starting onions in these big old pots works the best for me. Now this tray is from Bootstrap Farmer that I bought on Amazon my second year gardening. My first year gardening, I could not afford this high quality of a tray because we had built raised beds. I had to buy the soil to fill the raised beds, and I could not afford to also buy high quality seed trays and grow lights. So my first year, I just used the cheapest trays I could find on Amazon. I'm trying to remember back, and solo cups, and I didn't have grow lights. Those really inexpensive trays only lasted me 1 year. And because I didn't have grow lights, all of the seeds that I started died. So that was a learning opportunity for me. I'm grateful for that learning opportunity because what I learned is that grow lights are important. And the next year when I went to invest in some trays, I wanted to make sure I got ones that were good quality because then I wouldn't have to replace them every year. I've now had those, this is going on the 4th year using them, and I think they'll last me a very, very, very long time. I also have Epic Gardens trays, and his trays are really fantastic as well. But when it comes to gardening, and if you're gonna start your own seeds, there is a cost of getting the supplies for it. And it's okay if it takes time to build up your collection of gardening equipment, because it took me years to get to have the collection I have now. Because again, I am on my 5th year, which is kind of crazy. So this soil right here is some Vermont compost. I started using this because Nicole from Flower Hill Farm recommended it. And this is the Fort V mix. And this is actually formulated for soil blocks. I do love soil blocks, but I don't use soil blocks for onions. I use these. So I'm going to just fill these up with this Vermont compost. When seeds germinate, they don't actually need nutrients to germinate. The seed has everything it needs to germinate and give itself nutrients. But once that plant germinates and starts to grow, it needs nutrients to grow. And so if you get just plain old seed starting mix, usually there's hardly any nutrients in it. And I found that using this Vermont compost that's very nutrient dense, the seedlings just overall have a better jump start to their life. And these onions are gonna live in this pot until they go out into the garden. I'm not gonna up pot them at all. So I'm giving them a big space for their roots to develop, and I am giving them a mix that has nutrients already in it, but I will fertilize these as they go. Now this Vermont compost has been in my driveway all winter because I got this last year. It is already moist, so I don't need to add any water to this. This whole entire tray is Patterson onions. I'm gonna stick this here for now, and I'm gonna fill up 8 more of these for this variety of onion. I officially just started 500 onions. So now what I'm gonna do is just lightly cover each one of these with some soil. And then I'm gonna get them labeled with tape on here so that I know what things are. So that is a goal of mine this year, is to get even better at labeling. I did a pretty decent job for me when it comes to labeling. I knew what most things were last year when they were out in the garden, which was awesome because in years past, I have done a terrible job labeling, and I don't know what half the things are out in the garden. And I do enjoy being out in the garden more. No, I shouldn't say that. I do enjoy harvesting things and sharing with you what things are when I actually know what they are versus not knowing. And I know there will be things I will mislabel or forget to label, and that'll be okay. But as long as every year I try to get a little bit better at it, then that's my goal. Okay. So that is our first onions done. And let me put that seed packet on there before I find it. There it is. I'm gonna do that same thing with these ones. Just lightly cover the top with soil. This soil is pretty moist at this point. We just had a big snowstorm and this soil was sitting out there covered in snow. The snow is melted at this point. And so this soil is very damp. It actually would be perfect to make soil blocks out of it. When I squeeze, I'm not squeezing water out, but when I squeeze, it holds its shape. That's what you want for soil blocks. We'll make soil blocks together later. I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna start my snapdragons next, because I'm gonna do my snapdragons different than I did last year. I was saying all that about, I probably will water these in, just to kind of set everything. Okay. 500 onions have been started. Some of those onions aren't gonna germinate. Some of them aren't gonna do super well. So I know that I won't end up with 500 onions. You all were so funny that you noticed what this spells last time we were out here together. I did not notice that. I actually just went inside to put dinner in the oven because I got that prepped earlier and I got the cake turned out of the bundt pan. It came out beautifully. And I figure I'm gonna come back in here and I'm gonna label these. So this whole tray is Patterson. I'm just using a Sharpie. If I was gonna put this label outside, I would use a UV protection pin, but this is just gonna stay in here, so I'm not gonna worry about that. I put the date on there, and that is done. Let's get this one labeled up. Uh-oh, I used all of my white. Shoot. This is duct tape that the previous owner left in this room, and I've been using it the last 3 years to label my trays. Just enough sticky stuff on here that I can get this on here. What I'm gonna do is get my heat mats on. This room is not heated, and so heat mats are important in here. If you are starting your seeds inside your house and your house is relatively warm, you don't have to have heat mats. It can make your seeds germinate a little bit quicker. If you are deciding, should I invest in a heat mat or grow lights would be the priority. It's kind of important for me to use heat mats because this room is not heated. That soil was from outside, like I said, and it's 41 degrees. I'm gonna have this heat up to 75 degrees. The onions don't need to be super hot to start germinating. I will water them, I think, and I will cover them, but we're not gonna worry about that right now. All we're gonna do is let this soil start to heat up. Now that the onions are ready, let's go ahead and talk about the snapdragons. I have started snapdragons a couple different ways over the past 2 years. One way is I individually planted them or started them in these little containers. I don't remember if they were these containers. I think they were actually these ones where I used a toothpick and I tried to put one seed in each one of these cells. You will see in just a minute when I show you how small snapdragon seeds are. They're so teeny tiny and it is very difficult to get one seed in one cell. What I noticed also when I watered them is the seeds would kind of go everywhere. The way I did it last year is I used these mini teeny tiny soil blockers. You can see how small those are, and I painstakingly used a toothpick and I tried to put one seed per cell. And I did not do a very good job about that, and when I watered, half of the seeds just washed all around, and when I went to actually have to up pot them, whether I used the cell method or the soil block method, is I had to go through and kind of break them apart, and it became a fiddly mess. I also found with using those mini teeny tiny soil blockers, I had a very difficult time either underwatering or overwatering. I could not figure out the proper ratio of water for those soil blocks. So I'm gonna do what I believe is called the channel method, where I'm gonna take this whole tray and fill this tray up with soil. Now there are channel trays. I don't have that. I'm gonna use what I have, and I'm gonna fill this up with soil. Ideally, I would sift this soil first, but this soil is pretty damp, just to make it a little bit finer because snapdragon seeds are so small. But we're just gonna work with what we have here. And I just realized I don't even know if I have vermiculite to go on the top of this. I'm gonna have to look. So what I'm trying to do is make a smooth layer. I'm not trying to compact it. I'm just gently patting this so that it's a nice, even layer. And I'm gonna fill one more tray, I think. Now, friend, I am not a master gardener. I am a person who enjoys gardening, is a gardening enthusiast, and have learned a few things over the years, and mostly I have learned from my mistakes. The biggest lessons I have learned when it comes to gardening and seed starting is honestly from my mistakes. And I know that I'm gonna make mistakes this year. And one of my favorite gardening quotes is, well, I guess there's kind of two, and I'm gonna probably not say them correctly, but one of them is, you're not born with a green thumb, you have to grow a green thumb, so you have to, cultivate that and practice and practice and practice, just like we're not born with the ability to know how to drive, we have to learn and we have to practice in order to do that. And there are gonna be mistakes along the way. And then the second thing, it's not really a quote, but I heard this or read this somewhere, that the best gardeners kill the most plants. And you learn from your mistakes when it comes to that, and you are able to make adjustments and hopefully not make the same mistakes twice. But sometimes that even happens, and it just is what it is. So I'm going to do the same thing with this tray. I don't know how many trays I'm going to need total. Just kind of gently patting these. Snapdragons are probably my favorite flower, and I want a lot of them, and I want enough to share. There are 50 seeds in each one of these seed packs. I'm gonna plant them all. I know I'm gonna plant way more than I need. This is the Potomac variety, and this is the Costa variety. Gosh, I don't need to plant all of these. This is too many. I have a bad habit of starting too many seeds, but then I can just gift a ton of seeds. So I think I'm just gonna start them all. Let me show you just how teeny tiny snapdragon seeds are. So that right there is 50 seeds, and that right there is 100 seeds. I'm gonna mix those together. These are the Potomac varieties, and I think I'm gonna sprinkle these. Let's see, I'm gonna make a little line here, and I'm gonna sprinkle these on this side of the tray. And just like that, I planted 100 Potomac, the berry blend and the orange right here. I'm gonna take this and put this over here. Put a piece of tape here. Gosh, I don't want this to fall. Now on this side, I'm gonna put the Costa variety. I don't know how many seeds are in the Flower Hill Farm packets. So I think that worked pretty well. Now, I, again, am a hobby gardener. So I will share with you if this ends up being a total failure, because we're just in this together and you're gonna see how well this works. It took me a long time to realize this is how my favorite way to start onions is. So it might take me 3 years. This is my 3rd attempt with snapdragons, that this is my favorite way to start snapdragons. You want to see what pelleted seeds look like? It's basically where they take the seed, they put a little clay coating on it, and they make it so that's a little easier to see the seed, because it's usually white, pink, or yellow like this. So you can actually see where the seed is when it goes onto the soil. I really only like to plant pelleted carrot seeds now. My thought with doing it this way is basically trying to skip a step. So I individually planted the snapdragon seeds the last 2 years, and because the seeds are so tiny, when I would water, even when I used just a gentle mister or spray bottle, the seeds still tended to move all around, and I had to painstakingly try to pull them apart and up pot them relatively soon because they were so close together in a tiny soil block. Now, I figured I would skip that soil block step because that did take quite a bit of time to do the soil block and try to individually sow them. I'm just going to sprinkle them on here, let them germinate. Once they have one set of true leaves, I will then up pot them to their own individual pot. There we have it. Let me show you what I have where and what I did where. I can already tell you I probably have way more snapdragons than I need, but starting a new method, it never hurts to have extra, like I said, because some aren't going to make it. So in this section of this tray, I have the berry blend and the orange Ponomac variety. In this section here, I have the Costa apricot, Costa silver, or Costa mix 2 from Johnny Seeds. And I went ahead and I planted all of the seeds in the seed packets in here. Over here, I have the Monaco orange. Here, I have Orange Wonder, and I only put a fraction of the seeds that are in this packet in here. These are some of my favorite ones, and so I wanted to make sure in the past, they're some of my favorite ones, I should say, so I wanted to make sure I had those in my garden this year. And then I have in here Silver Dollar Eucalyptus. It says there's 50 seeds in here. I put half of them in here because I know that I don't need 50 plants, but I put about 25 plants or seeds in here because I know they're not all going to survive and make it into my garden. So next year I will be able to plant these hopefully, and these ones. And that is what I am planting today. Now, one thing I need to do is look up if snapdragons need sunlight to germinate. Some seeds need complete darkness to germinate. Some seeds need light to germinate. And I can't remember if snapdragons need light or not. And that was something I just learned last year. Yes, snapdragons need light to germinate. This was something that I learned last year. I didn't realize that some seeds needed light to germinate. I just went inside and filled up this spray bottle with water because what I'm going to do to hydrate these snapdragons, I'm going to move my seeds over there, is just spray with this bottle. I don't want to just douse them with the hose or anything like that because I kind of want the seeds to stay where I put them. And like there are some, if a seed landed on that big chunk of wood, it's not going to probably do well. And again, this soil is pretty saturated already. So what I'm doing here is just trying to hydrate the seed, not really moisten the soil at all. And you know what? I forgot I was going to check to see if I had. Oh, let's see. I think I might have some. No, I think I don't. Shoot. I am going to order today vermiculite. That is a substance that you put on the top when you start seeds that helps prevent, I'm going to order it right now or I'll forget. See if I can get it here by tomorrow. Oh, a 10-quart organic vermiculite. I could have it here by 5 to 10 p.m. today. I don't think I've ever seen that where I could do same day. That's crazy. I'm going to go ahead and just order that. It was going to cost me an extra few dollars to get it here by tonight. I don't need it here by tonight, so I will have it here by tomorrow, and that should be fine. But what vermiculite does is it helps prevent algae growth, and it keeps in the moisture. And I'm going to water those in. Now I'm going to go inside and grab some plastic wrap and cover these with some plastic wrap to keep the moisture in so that these can germinate. You can get humidity domes to go over your trays. I usually use plastic wrap because I don't have humidity domes. The ones that I did have kind of fell apart. And what I do is I use some plastic wrap, and I usually can reuse this multiple times for different trays, because soon as the seeds germinate, you want to take this off. You really only want this on there right when the seeds are germinating to trap in the moisture. And so I can just reuse this multiple times throughout the growing season. So I think I actually should get these under the grow lights. Do they need that much light to germinate? I don't know. My grow light situation is a little interesting because I still have these cushions over here. You all gave me so many good suggestions on what to do with these, and I haven't decided which idea I want to go with. I think I want to go with those shrink wrap packages that you guys told me about, but I haven't bought those yet. So right now they're still just right there. Okay, so I see it here. I got that plugged in. This is not an ideal situation at this point, but it works for now. I'm gonna get these underneath this grow light here. Oh, that one's not even turned on. There we go. That one's turned on now. Oh, you know what? I've got eucalyptus here. I need to look up what it needs to germinate. See, that's the thing. I probably should have put the eucalyptus in a different container, not with the snapdragons. I probably should have just had same type of plant in each one and done the eucalyptus in a different tray, but I didn't think about that till right now. So I need to look up if eucalyptus, does eucalyptus need light to germinate? Oh, perfect. Eucalyptus needs light to germinate as well. It needs lots of bright light. Okay, perfect. It's okay that I put them all in the same tray. So this is my not eucalyptus, this is my snapdragon seeds and my eucalyptus seeds. So I'm gonna put these in here. I can actually keep them together in this because I start them on the same day. And now officially I won't need these until next year. And what I want to do now is actually mark down what I started when I started it. So here what I'm going to do is put 2025's garden, and today is 2/20. I know I need what I wrote down in my journal this year, because I am going to try to be better about this because it has already been so nice being able to look back to see what I did last year, is I'm going to be a little bit more detail oriented. Last year, all I did was put the date, what I planted, and how many of them I planted. This year, I'm putting the date, what I planted, and how I started them. So for example, I'm saying that I started my onions in my 6-inch pots, and I started my eucalyptus and my snapdragons in the channel tray method, even though I'm using my whole tray. So that is so exciting. I don't feel as nervous about all of this growing and things anymore. Just beginning of today, starting this, I felt a little nervous, but I feel really good. And I'm really, really excited. Here is what the bundt cake looked like with a cream cheese frosting. If you want to watch more videos, I'll pop them here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. And I can't wait to see you next time. Bye, friend.